Background about my sister. 2 years ago, my sister was killed in a car accident. She was riding with a friend to the mall, the friend's parent was driving, and teenage boy plowed through a red light while texting on his phone and hit the car my sister, Carrie, was in. Carrie was killed instantly and her friend, June, was in a coma for 3 weeks before her parents took her off life support. When Carrie passed, I was devastated and angry and just not in a good place. Carrie and I had been extremely close. Despite a 7-year age gap between us, we enjoyed a lot of the same shows, we went to concerts together. We volunteered together, and I took it upon myself to guide Carrie like any big sister would do. Our parents were extremely busy with work most days, and Carrie and I would often cook together and do crafts when we weren't too busy with school work. Carrie wanted to be a NICU nurse when she grew up, and I helped her find a volunteer position at a local hospital to help get her gain some experience being around patients. In short, Carrie was my sister and best friend, and when she passed, I was a mess. The last craft Carrie and I made together was a set of candles. We bought the wax at a local craft store and we both made each other a candle and decorated the jar it was in. That was the day before she was killed. At her funeral, Carrie was buried with the candle I made her. The candle Carrie made me sits on my desk next to my favorite picture of her and I together at the beach. Or it did, until last week. Background about my boyfriend. I met my boyfriend about 1.5 years ago, about 6 months after Carrie passed. I wasn't looking for a relationship, I was still grieving my sister's death. But Eugene came along and it was love at first sight. He was extremely supportive, let me cry on him when I needed to, didn't push me into getting over grieving or anything. He was extremely gentleman about everything and very, very patient. After 6 months of seeing each other pretty regularly, we made it official. Eugene came into my life at a very low point, and he has always been very respectful of sentiments I keep from my sister. Never asking me to take them down, always giving me space when I needed to cry. Eugene, along with most, if not all, of my friends and family know about Carrie's candle. There was a point after she died where I would take the candle with me everywhere out of fear that someone might light it, or steal it. Or who knows what. The point is, that candle was and still is a very important part of my life and something that my sister made for me and me alone. When Eugene and I moved in together about 4 months ago, I packed away most of the reminders of my sister and put out the candle and picture on my desk. I felt that this was a huge step because when I'd lived just by myself I had pictures everywhere and a few knickknacks laying around from my sister. I wanted to make Eugene and I's home our home with just a small part of my sister there. Eugene understood and was very supportive. Last week, we had a massive winter storm that knocked out power. We didn't have power for 3+ days. The power was knocked out at Eugene and I's house while I was at work, which did not lose power. Eugene texted me that he was going to light some candles and try and get a generator, so we could have some for of power or at least be able to charge our phones / use lights / etc. Now, we have probably 30+ candles in our house. I am a huge fan of sales, and when Bath & Body Works has a candle sale, I like to stock up and get a range of scents. We have candles scattered all over our house. In the room where my desk is, there are no candles aside from the one Carrie made me. None at all, and there never has been. This room is also downstairs, where Eugene doesn't spend a lot of time, his desk is upstairs. When I arrived home from work last week, I noticed a bunch of candles burning in our living room, safely. Always monitored and not near anything that could ignite. One of these candles was the candle that Carrie had made me. I burst into tears, and when Eugene heard me crying he came out from the bedroom, where he was lighting more candles, and asked what was wrong. I was a wreck and couldn't get any words out. When he tried to calm me down, I shoved past him and locked myself in the room where my desk was and just cried. I don't know how he could be so stupid. He knew, and I thought he understood how sentimental the candle was and how much I cherished having a candle that my now deceased sister had spent time making with me just a day before she was killed. I haven't been able to speak to Eugene since it happened, Tuesday of last week. He has tried to explain why he did it, because he needed candles to be able to see, but I just can't wrap my head around it. He hadn't gotten into the large candle stash I have upstairs right by the living room where Carrie's candle was, but went downstairs, out of the way to grab the most sentimental, cherished item I have. The candle was burning most of the day while I was at work and is now melted and pretty much gone. I do still have the jar it was in, but I can't look at it without bursting into tears. Eugene says it was an accident, but I just don't believe that. He said he was getting around to lighting the candle surplus we have upstairs, but just hadn't gotten there yet. After being home 6 hours alone with no power. I am heartbroken and feel like this is a major slap in the face. I feel disrespected. I feel like he disrespected my sister. I just don't know what to do. I don't feel like I can forgive him for this. I and my fiancé have been together since our sophomore year of college, so around 5 years now. My mom had an affair with a coworker when I was 16, leading to my parents' divorce. She has been single ever since, going on dates but no serious relationships. I have a good relationship with my dad and his new wife. Sadly, my fiancé's mom passed 2 years ago due to cancer and his dad has been single since. My fiancé proposed last year, but our wedding was delayed due to COVID. Our families had never met up to this point because his family lives in South Carolina, whereas we're in North Carolina, where we went to college, around a 3 hours drive away from his dad. 3 months ago, in January 2021, we decided that it was time to have our families meet for the first time to discuss our upcoming wedding in June 2021. Held in our backyard, COVID appropriate, immediate family only. My dad and his wife, my fiancé's dad, and my mom all met at our place to meet and discuss the wedding. This went well, albeit there was some tension between my mom and my dad. This morning, out of the blue, my mom called me and announced that she had eloped. I was shocked as she had not been dating anyone to my knowledge. Upon questioning, it turns out that she and my fiancé's dad had been dating in secret since that meeting in January and had married in secret yesterday, making my fiancé my stepbrother. I want to throw up just thinking about this. She said that I should now cancel my wedding because it would be inappropriate to marry my stepbrother. I'm absolutely horrified. I shouted at my mom, saying she just loves ruining my life and called her selfish. First she cheated on my dad. And now she went and married my fiancé's dad, knowing full well I was about to marry my fiancé. My mom then said I was still young and I'd have the chance to meet someone new, but she's old and has to take every opportunity she's got, and so I was an ungrateful B_*TCH for not approving of her marriage. She then accused me of wanting her to die alone. I don't think I'm the asshole, but I just wanted to make sure because ultimately I don't want her to have to be alone, even though I think she did that to herself by hurting my dad. I think I should be allowed to marry my fiancé as we met first. I'm also 12 weeks pregnant with my fiancé's kid, so that complicates matters more. We haven't told anybody yet. I don't know much about whether it's legal to marry your stepbrother. Honestly, I still don't know how to feel about this because this still feels kinda gross to me. We'll probably be going low or no contact. I had been with Carrie for 10 years, best friends since we met at the age of 12 in high school. We had tons of amazing memories. We've traveled to several countries together and made long-term work for 3 years while separated due to studies. Last Thursday I proposed to her in St. Lucia, not in front of anyone mind you, I wanted it to just be private. She didn't say anything and I was thinking, oh shit, did I say or do something wrong? She started crying and said she had something to explain to me. She didn't want to marry me because she'd been sleeping with the coworker she said was just a friend for around 3 months. She said she rationalized it was just a thing that would pass, but it's continued, and she said she loves me so much. More than I'll ever understand, that I've helped her so much and she doesn't even know why she has done this. She said she loved me too much to marry me knowing she'd done what she did. She doesn't love the guy. It was just sex and she had been trying to stop the affair, but I proposed before that happened and she said she knew when I was kneeling that she couldn't marry me, not after everything I'd done for her, so she told me. I feel like my whole world has shattered. We had an awkward flight home on Friday evening and haven't spoken since. She has tried calling me but I haven't answered and I have until Monday off, so I'm just here. I've barely eaten. I feel like there's a black hole in my stomach draining everything I have mentally. I can't wrap my head around the fact that she was cheating, that she lied, that she hid it from me. My sister apparently had some words for her. I'm trying to pretend I'm okay, but I'm not. Every morning that I've woken up since last week Friday morning has just been bleak. I love her so much, but I've no intentions of getting back together. I don't think I would ever be able to trust her again, much less forgive her, for a very long time. My best friend brought a 6-pack yesterday and we drank in the evening. I cried my eyes out in the shower last night. I never cry, not even when my mom, who I was extremely close to, passed away. But I was sobbing like a child last night, and honestly, I would have loved if my mom had been there to tell me it'd be okay. My sister brought over some breakfast this morning and basically made me eat because she knows I haven't really been eating lately. Zero appetite. I've got cerebral palsy that affects both my legs and one arm. That's my official diagnosis, but what you really see is I walk with a limp. I'm a software developer, so job-wise, I don't have any issues. I knew when I was a kid that using my brain is the best way for me to survive on my own without relying on other people. I haven't had the chance to get my driver's license, but according to therapists and doctors that shouldn't be an issue. That's the background about me. My girlfriend and I have been together for a year. We met back in April 2020 of last year, and we decided to get together in May 2020. I told her about my disability before then, but she wanted to try and make it work. We video call on Discord every day, almost always when we're awake, and recently we've been going on dates. She's more than happy to lend me an arm, and she notices things about me that even I miss myself. Outside of my family, she's the most loving and caring person I know, and she's my motivation to do better and improve myself. Honestly, I never thought I could find someone I trusted enough to share my more negative thoughts and problems. I always tried to seem happy so I don't worry others. The emotional support she gives me is really irreplaceable. The problem is scared that, in the future, she will have to take care of me, or most of the work will fall onto her. To make matters worse, her mom has been telling her for the past few weeks to break up with me because she can find better, and she doesn't want her to have the burden of caring for me. She's also really afraid that I will get arthritis early due to my cerebral palsy, and if that happens, a lot is going to be on her. I've tried doing things like stretches and exercises to maintain and improve my muscle tone, but she is still afraid I'll get worse. I'm an introvert, I don't know a lot of people, and honestly, I don't even know the options I've got to look at. I want to prove that I can be independent and that if things do go wrong, it won't just be on her. I'm in Ontario, Canada. Are there things I can look into and do to assist with my disability, or things I can look into so if things do go wrong, I won't be a burden on her? I'm at the end of my wits. I've never really hated my disability, but I've always kept myself going by tempering my expectations and thinking, my disability is going to make it really hard to find someone, and she's the first person to make me feel like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I want to do anything to show her that I won't hold her back in the future, but I'm out of ideas. Is there anything I can do? I don't want to worry anyone I'm with these issues, but I'm at the end of my wits. I don't even know if my relationship is lost, but I don't want this to happen again, and I want to know what I can do myself so I can reassure my partner, so they know I won't hold them back in the future. I don't know if there are things I can look into to better plan my future so it's not a concern for my partner. The worst part is, I've always thought my disability doesn't matter. But with all of this happening, it's really hard to convince myself otherwise.